catch the eye, quindi la parola al commissario Andor. Prego.
Madam President, honourable members, I think this has been a very important discussion on a subject which can be an emblematic initiative of this European Commission in this mandate. The Irish Presidency has just started, and we learned it last week in Dublin. This is not only a priority for Minister Burton in this season, but for the entire Irish government. And this is of fundamental importance because indeed the Council of Employment Ministers should conclude in February, so that the implementation can start as soon as possible. We know the situation has been very serious, but since I heard some points from Ireland but also from Spain which points the finger to the Commission and the European policy on this matter, I would like to invite a more serious analysis. I am always open to a discussion about the origins of this crisis, but just to say that it is because of the European policy is a bit harsh. A banking system built on sand in Ireland is not the fault of the European Commission. The mindless property speculation which resulted in the bubble economy in Spain is not the fault of the European Commission or any other European institutions. I know the situation in Spain is very serious. The day before the Commission made this proposal on 5 December, I was discussing this proposal with the Youth Council of Spain, and I will be back in that country in this month. It has been indeed the country which suffered the most from the point of view of youth unemployment, but also in terms of general unemployment during this crisis. I think this initiative on the Youth Guarantee demonstrates the European Union at its best. It is about sharing the best practices. It is about inviting the social partners in a very constructive cooperation. And it is also about providing good substance to the European semester. Indeed, we want to share the best practices which we learned from Finland or Austria, whose Prime Minister will speak here tomorrow, and I very much hope that he will proudly mention the very low youth unemployment and the role the Youth Guarantee has played in that country. For sure, the Youth Guarantee alone is not a sufficient instrument to fight youth unemployment. We also need other initiatives, and we do have other initiatives. Transferring the model of dual training, again from countries like Austria or Germany, as Mr. Mann certainly knows very well. Improving the employment services functioning and capacity, not least to provide access to jobs in the same country but also in other European countries to help mobility to happen. Another important area where we are working very hard, and we continue this work in cooperation with members of the Parliament. As Ms Hirsch pointed out, of course the Youth Guarantee is not exactly a job guarantee. It is not going to eliminate youth unemployment, but it has the capacity to reduce youth unemployment very significantly. It will have to offer packages of jobs, training, further education, higher education opportunities, and even if the actual offer for someone is a training or learning opportunity, it must be a very useful one, and it must add to the employability of the young unemployed person in the context of the given country or region. There have been many discussions in the past years, also in the Parliament, about flexicurity, when we experienced and witnessed the rise of flexibility, and there was indeed a shortage of the security of employment. I believe this initiative is very much about the security of employment for a generation whose situation is very difficult now and whose employment needs to be more secure also in the future. So this is not simply a response to the urgency, the current severe crisis, but it is also a significant structural improvement in the functioning of the European labour market, and particularly what concerns the school-to-work transition. Funding, as we discussed in the introduction, indeed is key, but the resources are there in the European Social Fund. They need to be prioritised. They need to be prioritised now and also for the long-term future. I couldn't agree more with what Jutta Steinruck said in the discussion. We have seen enough crocodile tears shed for the unemployed youth of Europe. We definitely need now clear contributions on funding what concerns current ESF in this year, but also the European Social Fund for the long term in the next MFF, because that is going to be the key resource for supporting youth guarantee schemes. What concerns the concrete projects which was asked about by Ms Costello, we can clarify in the coming weeks, and I will be back twice in Ireland in February if necessary to discuss it there. I would like to thank for all the discussions and support from the European Parliament, not only today but in the last 3 years, indeed from the very start of the Europe 2020 strategy and its flagship initiatives for youth and employment. MEPs from Ms Turunen and Ms Berès played a very significant role. We will need this support also in the future, because this discussion does not stop here, but I think this support which the concept of the Youth Guarantee receives now should be crucial. The message should be sent to the Member States whose agreement is needed on the scheme in February, but also on the funding aspect at a later stage. Thank you very much.
Grazie Commissario. Comunico di aver ricevuto una proposta di risoluzione a conclusione della discussione. La discussione è chiusa e la votazione si terrà mercoledì 16 gennaio.